What's up, guys? Welcome to this week's market outlook. We're going to be covering from the 29th of May to the 3rd of Friday, which will be June. All right, so we are entering a new month, so expect that we're going to have some news come out this first week. Probably going to have NFP this week, probably on Friday, most likely. We can check that right now. Let's go ahead and see. So yes, as you can see, we do have NFP this Friday. As expected, it's always on the first week of every month. One thing I want to say is be careful when trading during news, right? Even though your direction and your entries could be correct, and your trading plan is formidable and you have a good trading plan, whatever the case may be, you can still be liable to broker manipulation, right? Spreads go crazy during news time. So even if your trade is correct and your direction was correct, you can still get stopped out just by how wide and huge the spreads could be on your broker. So just watch out for that. Okay, so preferably I don't like trading during news. I like to be already inside of a trade or already in profit or whatever the case is, maybe break even already, and then I'll let the trade run during news. But just trading news by itself, I don't like doing that. It's just you're setting yourself up for failure, or right, it's a lot of hassle to be in. Okay, so just be careful doing that. All right, so let's go ahead and cover the pairs that we are looking at for this week and what we're looking from these pairs. We're going to cover the setups, the areas that we're looking at. Now, like I always say, when it comes to the entries, if you want to be part of the entries that we take and you'll be part of the actual moves and how we enter these trades, then go ahead and look the link in the description. You can join our mentorship, you can join our academy, and you can find all of our services down in the description. All right, so let's get straight into it. You guys know we have to start off with DXY. So looking at DXY right now, we're looking for two different things to happen from where we're at right now. We could either see us go up first into this redistribution, which is our latest supply zone, and then we come down to target this demand zone, right? Or we could just come down straight into our demand zone here, or we could come down to the demand zone there, or we could continue down into the demand zone here, right? So we have three demand zones that we're looking for DXY to react from specifically. Okay, so essentially, I am waiting for DXY to give us this retracement in order for us to continue higher again, because I see no reason for DXY to sell off right now, because recently we've just made a new high. So essentially I understand why we're pulling back and why we're getting this retracement. Now what comes to play is whether we're going to react from here, here, or here. So as DXY is going down, and whether or not it reacts from one of these two areas, most likely not is going to react from this one right here, because this is the biggest reaccumulation, and this took a lot of time, which means there were most likely more orders placed at this area. So most likely than not, this is where it's going to come to if it doesn't react off of these two right here. But we're not just going to wait for DXY to come all the way down here. We don't know how long that's going to take. So what we can do is we can trade the retracement going down, and what that would look like is on EU. You can see EU is going up. So DXY and EU are the opposite of each other. As DXY is going down, EU is going up. So, while DXY is going down and EU is going up, what I can do is I can trade EU while it's going up. Now, personally, myself, I'm waiting for EU to come here or here, right? Or we could either continue higher and come up into this huge area up here, right? So you can see it's the three kind of areas, but it's the opposite. So on DXY, it was three demands. On EU, it's three supply zones. So you can see how DXY and EU correlate with each other. All right. Okay, so looking at EU right now, what are we looking for? So essentially, playing off of this lower time frame order flow that's going on right now, we have this low that created this high. We essentially have not targeted. We haven't came inside of the supply zone yet. So we are still liable to take buy opportunities. So I am waiting for EU to come down lower into the side this reaccumulation. Either we come inside this reaccumulation or we go lower inside of this accumulation, right? One of these areas. Now, if we cannot sustain these areas here, then I wouldn't be surprised if we come inside of here. And the reason why I'm expecting us to come inside of here if we do not react here is because this was the last demand zone. Essentially, this was the reaccumulation that caused the break of this high. And that is important. That's a key thing to pay attention to, because this high is what was holding our supply to the downside, right? So this here is the entire supply, and this how was holding that supply down. So essentially, if this reaccumulation here was the cause of breaking this supply, that means there were some buyers that got into the market here that are able to invalidate this supply. So this right here would be a valid demand zone. Okay, so I hope you guys understood where that came from. So essentially, we're looking for EU to give us a reaction from here or here. If not, then maybe down here, and all of these buys will be targeting this supply zone. Now, understand that we could just go to the upside and come inside of the supply zone. In that case, then I'll just be looking for the market to give me a change of character on the lower time frame as we look for our lower time frame entries, whether it be distribution, or we have different forms of distributions that could happen, and we look for those different forms, and we will take the market lower because essentially EU is bearish, right? This is just a pullback. This is just a retracement. So we're going to keep going on with that bearish aspect on EU. Okay, now we're on to GU. Okay, so as you guys know, we were looking for GU to trade out of the supply zone. We have recently broken this supply zone, meaning, so it's like the same thing with EU, that some type of buyers were able to come in and validate this supply zone. Well, fortunately for us, we've seen accumulation and reaccumulation happen while we were doing that. So that shows up some evidence of buyers getting to the market. So we're going to do the exact same thing with GU. We're going to buy it until we reach an area of supply. And that most recent area of supply is going to be up here. So essentially, you're not going to wait for GU to just go up here and then sell it. Why do that? You're wasting time, you're wasting money, right? You could buy this market as it's going up, knowing where we're most likely going to target. Now, you have to be cautious because GU could just boom, and this could be our this could be our ICE to the downside, and we could redistribute, right? So be on the lookout for that. GU could redistribute, but as of right now, we are still maintaining that bullish aspect from this accumulation inside of this reaccumulation. And then you can see we're testing this reaccumulation here. I'm not sure whether or not we're going to just continue from there. If we do, then this reaccumulation, this new reaccumulation will be valid. And then after that, we'll probably see more accumulations and reaccumulations be placed into the market. Right, so right now on the lower time frame for scalping opportunities, you're most likely want to be buying GU until it shows you a reason not to buy it. And that's essentially what I'm gonna do because I don't see no area of supply over here for me to sell it at. So I'm gonna have to wait for it to come up here. Essentially, that's what we're gonna have to do. Okay, so moving on to AU. AU, on the other hand, is still within its area of supply, which is right here. So nothing has changed with AU. We're just waiting for AU to show us that sign of weakness, to show us that change of character. We still haven't seen it yet. So if we still haven't seen it, no trades. And I'm not buying AU inside of a supply zone. I've done that before. I've bought markets inside of supply zones. They don't work, okay? Sometimes you're just going to take straight L's, and to avoid that, you have to know what your rules tell you to do, okay? So personally, I don't not like to anticipate that AU is going to break this high because I want to see it do that. All right. So essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait to see that sign of weakness. I'm going to wait for the market to show me that bearish aspect. And if we don't, right, let's say we do come up here and we break this high. After we do that, then I will be liable to take buys from whatever demand it created inside of here. Okay. So we like to react from the market. We don't predict from the market. Okay, we are inside of a supply zone. I'm going to wait for this market to show me bearish aspects. I'm going to wait for this market to show me bearish ideas for me to sell it down. Okay. All right, so moving on to Euro GBP, guys. What am I looking on Euro GBP right now? So essentially, we have reacted out of the reaccumulation that we was looking for a reaction from. So we did come into here successfully, but we did not get that lower time frame accumulation, that lower time frame entry, you know, with the change of character that we usually like to see. So we weren't able to catch a confirmation entry inside of here. So essentially now what I'm waiting for is I'm waiting for us to come back into this reaccumulation right here. If If we can go back to that, you know, get some type of entry here, we can take it higher. Other than that, I mean, we could just probably wait to see if we can take out this high and to continue this, you know, lower time frame structure that we have going on. So essentially that's what I'm seeing on EG right now. Most likely I just want to see us, you know, either give us that accumulation to continue us higher, or for just to come up and just take out this high. If we do not get that accumulation prior to that, you know, other than that, maybe come down here, give us a reaction out of here, because we're able to invalidate a supply zone that was sitting there. You can see we had all this reactions here, which put a whole bunch of liquidity, and this probably was the rate of that liquidity. All right, so essentially it's pretty simple. We're just waiting and seeing what this market wants to do. So that's it for EG, right? Moving on to USD CHF. Now on USD CHF, it's a little bit more better. You know, we have an established trend right now. Essentially, we are bullish. Okay, we are bullish on this pair, but as of right now, sellers are in control of the market until we reach some type of demand, and that demand is all the way down here. So keep that in mind. So sellers are in control of the market, and then we're targeting this higher time frame demand zone over here, right? If that is the case, I am going to try to sell this down into the demand zone since sellers are in control, right? And you can see we already have a whole bunch of attempts at this. Here we took a sell here. There was a distribution here, took the market lower. So now what I'm looking for is I'm going to see if we can get a raid of these highs over here. If we can get a raid of those highs, tap into this sponsor candle inside of here, you know, even maybe get a lower time frame entry inside of here if we're lucky enough. If we can just take this lower, wait for mitigation, and then continue it lower. Okay, that's exactly what I'm waiting for. Now, if we are able to take out these highs, then I am going to wait for us to get into this supply zone that we never touched, right? So essentially we're getting a small movement down, and the market is giving this, you know, lower time frame kind of, you know, scalps to the downside, but we never came back into this supply that I was looking for. So that is a potential that we could come back into there, but if the market wants to just continue down, then we're just gonna have to scalp it down, right? So essentially this is the first area that I'm going to look for sales out of, since we did have a distribution and a redistribution out of here. We broke this, and then we're able to broke this low. So that's showing us that sellers want to continue this lower, so why not continue selling the market lower? All right. So moving on to these last two, which is AUD CAD. AUD CAD is pretty simple. We are headed into this supply region. So I mean, that's pretty simple enough. You guys already know how we take our trades inside of the supply. We're going to wait for that change of character. Essentially, we have never seen that on AUD CAD. It tried to do it here. We did get it, but we weren't inside of the supply yet. So essentially this was kind of void because there was no actual sellers behind this. So that's why we're able to come back and break this high so easily, because we haven't actually got inside of the supply zone yet. Essentially, you see what I'm saying? So that's why these supply zones are so important, because, you know, you could have just thought that this was the move down and then the market was going to continue lower, but you can see that's essentially not it. There wasn't enough sellers over here backing this up enough, right? Or this could be part of a bigger schematic. All right, so essentially this could be our buying climax here. This could be our secondary test / up thrust. We don't know yet. And then this is our minor sign of weakness. So all we're waiting for is, if this is going to be a higher time frame schematic, we're waiting for that UTAD to be created with that major sign of weakness, right? And then test here and then continue down. Now, you know, we're not going to trade this higher time frame distribution until it happens. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to catch the lower time frame entry inside of the top of the UTAD to get that best entry, and then get a re-entry here and continue down. So that is a potential. We could see that distribution occur, but right now that is all just assumption. We don't know yet until we get that confirmation, right? So essentially right now it's looking like a 3-drop move towards the upside. So we'll just have to see what the market does, but just keep that distribution in your mind on AUD CAD. All right. Last but not least, Cad CHF. So essentially Cad CHF is one of the simpler ones. We do have this supply zone right here. Okay, as you guys can see on the 1 hour, this is a sponsored candle order block, whatever you want to call it. You know, we had a huge move towards the downside. This is a valid sponsor candle / order block because we have a impulsive move down. We had imbalance that we had to fill, and just looking at what happened afterwards, you can see we had this impulsive move down, and then as the market is going up, you can see how slow it is. So that is telling us that sellers were active here and there is no buying opportunity here, meaning that buyers are not interested in here, because if we were, we would have had a stronger price action than this. Okay, so essentially it's telling us that sellers are stronger. Okay, and we can already tell that sellers are in control of this market since we are continuously taking out demand zones such as this one. We've recently took out this one, and now we are targeting this one. So as you guys know, this and this one right here are the two big demand zones that I'm looking for this market to trade into. Since we're technically not here yet, we got close, but we're not inside of there yet. So I'm just going to continue selling this lower, and you can also tell we're not there yet just by how slow and choppy this buying pressure is. Okay, so essentially the setup is going to be pretty simple, right? We're going to wait for this range to occur. As you guys know, Asian session is usually used as liquidity. So we're going to wait for this range to occur, maybe get a manipulation, break a structure. That's going to be our entry down. All right, so that's pretty much it. Crypto has not moved. I mean, we can go on to crypto right now. Bitcoin, oh, never mind. Oh, never mind. I was on lower time frame. So like I said, Bitcoin has not moved, to be honest. It has really gone nowhere. So essentially, there's not really much to talk about here. I mean, you guys already know my viewpoint. Okay, if this market cannot buy from here, we're gonna go lower, right? If we can't create an accumulation from here, we're gonna go lower. I want to see us break this high in order to ensure that we are going to make new highs on BTC. But until then, we'll just have to be patient and see what BTC is doing, right? We are in a fundamental market right now, so we have to see what the fundamentals are doing and things like that. Other than that, I hope you guys have a good trading week, and I'll see you guys in the next analysis. Peace out.